Well, welcome to our second annual Live in New York City. Today we're here with Jackie Anderson, Director, Retail Strategic Accounts for Multisite, and Evan Garabedian, Business Strategist for Multisite. Video surveillance has been an important part of protecting businesses for many years. Our ability to observe and respond to security issues is better than ever before. Powerful new cameras and recording systems enable us to keep our eye on things and can help us alert others when security may be at risk. Few business owners that employ a well-designed video security system would be willing to give it up. But with so much attention focused on security, who's watching the stores? Who's watching how employees do their job, how they interact with customers, and if they are protecting the businesses by following important policies and procedures? We all know that our employees can have a positive impact on the bottom line, but if not coached properly, they can have a big impact, a not so positive impact on your bottom line. It's time to view business security in a new way, with cameras focused on operations that can help improve customer satisfaction and the bottom line. As important as your video security system is, it simply wasn't designed for operations. And just adding more cameras to your existing system may not be the answer. Enter Multisite by Schneider Electric. Multisite is a cloud-based video service that was conceived and developed to help monitor and improve operations. It uses the power of HD video, cloud-based storage, and video sharing to protect your profits in new and exciting ways. Imagine being able to look into your business operations, one location, 5 locations, 10 stores or more at the same time. Imagine being able to view live events and see intelligent video tools so that you know when things are happening and make recorded video available for your review and the review of your management and operations team, wherever you are, wherever they are, and whenever you need it. Now you can use this visual information to make important decisions about processes, policies, procedures, and people, and that can help protect profits. Your next visit to the store could be more productive because you can arrive fully prepared to address important issues. More than just video, Multisite is setting a new standard for loss prevention across a number of retail markets. It's time to revisit how you view loss prevention and profit protection. It's time for Multisite, a whole new perspective on loss prevention. With that, I'd like to thank Jackie and Evan for joining us today and supporting this event. Jackie and Evan, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us more about Multisite. It sounds like an exciting new venture for the LP industry, and can you speak to it a little bit, please?
Well, you know, it's all about having a connected consumer backed up by a connected associate. And as e-commerce has morphed into mobile commerce, having an application that supports video and the cross-channel utilization of video is even more important when you have a system that's been designed that was mobile born. It isn't a full video management system that was morphed back into being something that is more adequately viewed and manipulated by the tablet and the phone. It is one that was born there and supported by other infrastructure. So when we have a savvy consumer supported by a savvy associate in there, we're able then to streamline in all those cross-channel utilizations so that we can do business where retail does business at the speed that retail technology evolves. As such, this is an all-in-one inclusive type of product, meaning that there is no uptime, there is value engineered products that work together, that go in quickly, turn up seamlessly, and the learning curve is minimal.
So virtually it's real time.
It is real time.
Right, and you know, people running a retail business, they really need 3 basic things: smart, immediate, and useful. They're not going to use it if it's not useful. And excuse me, your big users in retail are the district managers, the regional managers. So building something that helps them in their day-to-day is really paramount. So they don't have time to stop off on the side of the road and pull up a laptop and find a Wi-Fi hotspot and things like that. You know, that's kind of 5 years ago, right? They have their mobile device in their hand. They want to access information now. And so It's not enough though to kind of develop a solution for those users. You want to also think about the rest of the people at corporate, right? There's marketing users, there's HR people, IT people. You want to be able to train new employees and things like that. So we want to design for all those users, and the voice of the customer has been something that's very important to us. And we've got a really killer user experience designer that works very well with shadowing users and putting together all the data relevant to what they need and what they want. And we really went through a very iterative process to develop what we did, and it was development, show, retailers, develop, show, retailers. It was back and forth. And so we went through a lot of that, and we really tried to get it as absolutely simple as possible. And anybody developing an app today or any kind of service knows that developing something that's simple is the most difficult thing you can possibly do, because it's so easy to pack features into any service or any product. So that was really the goal moving forward for us for Multisite.
So how many days can you store, number one? Number two, and this is a mobile app, obviously.
Correct.
So what's the storage capabilities?
Well, again, we go back to how the system is provisioned. Is it 24 hours? How much light, how much movement is in there? But typically, it's a minimum of 3 weeks on site. And then depending on motion and how the system is provisioned, we have a lot of users that are getting potentially more than that, Gus. But then from that, anything that you memorialize or is deemed important that you want to have in perpetuity gets pushed to the cloud. And there we will keep that, not based upon how much storage you're using. We don't predicate it on that. You're just buying time. And our usual contract where we're going to keep images in the cloud is a year, but you can extend that and you can get more.
Right, and that's really important, because no one knows how big a 50-second video clip is. They don't know how many megabytes it is. Maybe it's a gig. No one knows. So if we just say you have a year on the cloud, put as much up there as you want, it really kind of opens the doors, and people stop thinking, well, I don't want to push this up there because that might use up too much of my space, and then I need to delete stuff. It gets kind of there's a fine line you kind of walk when you do that. So a year we feel is a great amount of time to be able to store video. Another thing that we do is we record everything in 720p. So when you're talking about storage on a gateway device or storage in the cloud, you want to know the resolution. It's very high res. Everything is 720p. We do scale it down based on your iPad connection. So if you're in a low service area, we want to make sure that we're not trying to push high definition video to a user that ends up just seeing that spinning icon and they don't actually see video. So that's the kind of the ins and outs of the high def video and the cloud storage as we see it.
So you really don't have any need to work with the retailer's IT department at all, quite frankly, because you can go to it through an app.
Right. Well, so it does live on their network.
Okay.
So we are very conscious of that, and IT is actually one of the users that we designed for. We do a very significant amount of health monitoring, and we provide that to the user as well.
Excellent. So can you tell us about the retailers that you selected as your beta testing? I mean, what company, or not, how many did you test it with, and how long was the process for?
Oh, how many did we test it? So we tested with a lot of retailers, and it wasn't only that we tested with a lot of retailers, but we tested it with a lot of retailers' locations. So it wasn't enough to say, we're testing it with 25 retailers. It was 25 retailers, and we want to put it in at least 10 locations each. So you start, to grow in orders of magnitude when you test something like this and go through an iterative development process.
Can they use a PC instead of your gateway? Is there anything else the retailer needs to know or may have questions about?
Well, with a typical video system, that's the way it would operate. But since this was designed to be mobile-born, cloud-enabled, and that it is literally an all-inclusive, including installation and monitoring we don't want to insert any different equipment, because we just take it as it's all ours, cradle to grave, and if there's a failure, we simply replace it and ship a new thing. We don't send techs outside to troubleshoot. We just swap it out. And so that's what happens for the life of the contract, which we think simplifies any of that, testing and troubleshooting and finger pointing. If a camera's out, we replace it.
Right.
If anything's out, we just simply replace it. It's the quickest way for retail to be up and running so that there is no ripple effect to their operating environment ever.
Right, and that's exactly correct. With Multisite, it's truly end-to-end. So we've designed the hardware to work specifically with the software, and vice versa. And you know, there's an old famous quote by Alan Kay, who developed he was one of the founders of object-oriented programming and graphical user interfaces on computers. And he said, if you're really passionate about software, you're going to build your own hardware. And that's exactly what we did. So we designed, you know, our gateway to be fanless and live in really harsh environments. We designed our cameras to be very unobtrusive.
They're about the size of a business card.
Yeah, right. They're tiny, and really because we own and make all the hardware, and it's all coming from us. We can push out updates to customers, unbeknownst to them. So they, you know, it's a lot like Google. You log into Google.com, and there's tons of changes that are occurring in the background. You don't know about it. It's invisible to you. You just reap the benefit, and that's the same thing with multi-site. Users are able to reap the benefits of a lot of the development work we do invisibly behind the scenes.
You know, another thing is sharing that video. Once you find something that's inherently usable and interesting to the rest of your team, sharing that video is simple, is as easy as clicking on the video and pressing send and putting in an email address. It's that simple and intuitive. And so are the improvements. So, you know, sometimes people will overdevelop and put a lot of feature sets in for retail, some of which they aren't needed. But we're being very strategic in, like, okay, heat maps, that's very usable. That's becoming commonplace. People counting, cross-line detection, that's very usable. We'll push that out. As analytics evolve, we'll push out the ones that we think will really resonate with 80% of the retailers. And pushing it out is as simple as we add it and then it just becomes available on the app. There's no additional, like, what do I need to do? Download this. It simply is there.
Right, and we've got a pretty killer development team. And the way that we've built this cloud infrastructure, it's very much, you know, the system that you buy today is not the system that you get from, you know, six months from now. It's constantly evolving. So like what Jackie said with heat maps, you know, it's something that we develop and we can turn on for the customer immediately. With highlight reels, which is, you know, pushing important video to the user without him having to go and hunt for it, it's something that we can easily push. And people counting and things like that, you don't have to spend a lot of money on your infrastructure and purchasing new equipment. We can just simply turn it on for you.
Put it in your analogy, a highlight reel is like the Downing and Downing clipping service of the last day of your business. You get just
Sure.
the highlights.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
it's all about.
But at the end of the day, it's like technology is only viable if you use it, and you'll only use it if it's easy, and that's where the return on investment comes.
Excellent quote. Well, and finally, with all the data breaches, you know, over the last couple of years, and a number of them coming from hackers who were able to piggyback off of third-party providers, can you give our retail LP viewers a sense of how safe and secure multi-site video service really is?
You know, it's really important because there's so much buzz about the Internet of Things, the next big thing, anything with an on-off switch. So it inherently gives you vulnerabilities. So it has been designed specifically to really address those security issues, right, Evan?
Right. Yeah. I mean, in terms of hardware security, we don't give access to a lot of the ports. If somebody comes in and plugs something in, it won't do anything because we've shut off all the ports that are, you know, accessible. Other than the ones we've covered up. The incoming connections are completely blocked to a multi-site gateway. It only speaks out to our cloud services, and that's the, you know, on the virtual layer. And everything is outbound. The gateway itself doesn't actually say video system. So, you know, someone that's coming in to do harm to your store that sees a DVR is not going to pull the plug because they don't know what it is. It looks like any other appliance on the wall. But really the true part of the security is that there's no incoming connections to the gateway.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here today and sharing the information with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It was a
And
pleasure.
thank you for watching this session. We'd like to thank you for taking the time. And until next time, let's keep them all safe out there.